Oh, hi guys! Welcome to the Rust Beauties garage and to another episode of the 1967 Triumph Spitfire engine rebuild, which finally we have all the parts for, believe it or not. We have new bearings. We had to buy another set of bearings because the machine shop convinced me that this crankshaft doesn't need to go to 20 under. It can be kept as 10. So I trusted them. We got 10 under. Now I'm gonna keep the other ones for another engine rebuild. That's fine. So finally we have everything here and it is time to assemble this baby because it's been months. So without further ado, let's get crack-a-lacking. Alright, to begin with, we're gonna install the camshaft, which I already lubricated with assembly lube. I lubricated the bearings. By the way, just to remind you, in the previous episode or the one before, I don't remember, but we changed the bearings, the camshaft bearings on this block. We've also measured already the end play. Why is it not going in? There you go. We also measured the end play of the, oh my god, I hate that, of the distributor drive gear. And yeah, we did some preparation on this block while we were waiting for the main bearings and the connecting rod bearings to arrive, the new ones. So some work has been done. We still need to put back the plug on the outside of the camshaft here in the back, so remind me when we get there. But yeah, that's it. Okay, so the camshaft is in place, lubricated, and now we're gonna start installing the crankshaft. The camshaft is always the first thing to put there because after that is harder. I can't reach from here and help navigate one end. It's possible, but it is much easier to do it now, so that's why I did it right now. And what we're gonna do also, so it doesn't fall out, we're gonna put the retainer. We have a new retainer for here, even though the retainer goes after the front engine plate, but we're just gonna put it here temporarily so it keeps it in place, it doesn't fall out. Here we have a new retainer because the old one was a little bit worn. We don't even need 2 bolts for it, we're only gonna put 1. Actually we need 2, you're right. Okay. Or do we? Not really, but it is safer with 2. This one is not even going all the way in. That's enough, right? Now we can't lose it. Okay, so now the main bearings. Let's install those. Okay, so now just to state the obvious, this tooth needs to match the notch here, and the hole, of course, needs to match the oil passage so we don't block the oil delivery, right? So we're gonna put them on, we're gonna lubricate them, and we're gonna put the crankshaft on. But before we install the crankshaft in place, we're gonna make sure that there's nothing inside the oil passages, because it's been in the machine shop for a month. We never know, like bugs and even shavings and stuff can go in the oil passages. And the oil passages are here from the main bearing, it goes to the connecting rod bearing. So this hole here is connected to this hole here, right? So let's blow into which one? Let's blow into this one. You see? Then this one here is connected to, let's blow the other way around actually. Okay. So that is like a V here, and then here Okay, so it's clean. Now make sure that the journals are clean. I'm just gonna take it, I'm gonna stand it up and I'm gonna wipe them a little bit. And we can drop it in the block. Wow, it's so much lighter than TR6 crankshaft. This is like a baby crank. Okay, let's do the thrust bearings. Now the thrust bearings are only two. They go here at the bottom. For the TR4, I believe you have four. You have two in the block, left and right, and you have two in the main bearing cup that goes in that place. On the TR6 and GT6 and Spitfire, you only have two bearings, only in the block. You don't have anything into the cup. So I measured before we took the crankshaft out, and the end play I believe was good. So we just bought standard size now, and this is the bearing surface. So this goes towards the crankshaft, right? Because that's what spins around. This is the thrust surface of the crankshaft. So that's how this one goes, and that's how this one goes, with the bearing surface towards the crankshaft. We just need to lubricate it, right? So we're gonna put a lot of lube on both sides here. Let's turn it around, lubricate the other halves too. And now we can put the bearing inside like this. We can just spin it around. Come on. And the other side like this. There you go. And now we have just a little bit of end play. We're gonna measure it again, because these are new bearings, right? We were within the limits with the old ones, but we want to make sure that the new ones are good too. And now the cups with the other halves of the main bearings. Now the cups are numbered right on top here. This one is 2, so this one goes here. I'm just gonna put them like that for now. This one is 1, and this one I don't see the 3, but it's the only one remaining, right? Oh yeah, I can see the 3 here. It's upside down for you. That's, do you see it right here? There you go. So 3, and you see these marks here, they match these marks here, so that's how it should go. But you can also tell by the tab again. The notch here matches the same direction on the notch on the block. That's where the notch is. This notch needs to be in the same direction, but still also these marks here match. This one, you see the one here, and these marks also match these marks. So that's how it goes, and the tab is in that direction. So there are multiple ways to tell, and I checked all the ways. This one here is the 2. And again, the tab is matching this tab. Okay, so let me put the bearings and lubricate them. Okay, so now I'm gonna look up the spec, and we're gonna torque them, and once we torque them, we're gonna check for the end play of the crankshaft. And I know many people say that you have to do a dry test without any lube. Honestly, I'm willing to risk to have an error by a thou on this end play rather than scratching anything on the crankshaft and on brand new bearings. So I put lube and I check it. I'm pretty sure if there's an error, it's gonna be like a few tenths. It's not gonna be even half a thou. Okay, so apparently the spec for here is 50 to 55 foot-pounds. And I don't know why they give you a range. Why don't they give you an exact number? What is this? 5/8. Where's my 5/8? Don't look for it, I found it. So I don't know why they give you a range. Why don't they give you an exact number? But when it is a range, they say 50 to 55, I go to 55. I'd like to take the maximum out of it. And like my father likes to say, in order to take the most out of it, you tighten all the way until the bolt snaps and then turn half a turn back. Makes sense, right? That way you're sure that you're just half a turn before the bolt snaps. All right. Good. Do we still spin? Yes. We should, right? Okay, now let's measure the end play. And do we remember how much the end play needed to be? It's 11 thou. Let me show you. Haven't zeroed it, but we can zero it together. So that's one direction. So, yeah. 10 to 11 thou. I'll go with 10. Okay, let me see how much it needs to be. Okay, so apparently the end play is supposed to be between 6 and 14 thou. That's a very big range, and we have 10, so we are within tolerance, but I don't like that. It is way too much, so I want to be closer to the lower end, because this is a weak spot of the Triumphs. The end play of the crankshaft often becomes way too big. So we are already close to the higher end. I want to be close to 6. So what we're going to do, if we replace them with 0.5, which we have, if we replace them with 0.5, from 10, we're going to become 5. And that's going to be too tight. But if we replace only 1, we're gonna reduce the end play by 2.5 thou, so we're gonna become 7.5. I'm hoping. Apparently, it's not good for a torque wrench to loosen bolts. It's good only to tighten them. I don't know if that's a myth or what, but we're gonna try to stay safe. Okay. We still have loop there, but I'm gonna put more, and we're just gonna slide this one in and push the other one out. Move the crankshaft forward. Like this. This is how you do it from under the car without removing the crankshaft, right? That's much better. So that's, I don't want to zero it, but it shows 1 thou to 8 thou. So that's 7. That's much better. I like that better. So you see, guys, even though the thrust washers are available in 5 thou increments, you can actually combine them, and now you have 2.5 thou increments. It's absolutely not a problem to have one standard and one 5, which is not 5, it's 2.5. So anyway, that's done. So next we should start putting the pistons and the connecting rods inside. All right, so time to install the pistons. And as you remember, a few days ago we put the pistons on the connecting rods, we put the rings on. The rings are measured already per cylinder, so now we have here number 1, and it is marked, so we have to make sure that the marks are still there, number 1, and this one was marked somewhere else too. And also we have to make sure that the cap is in the right orientation when we put it on underneath. So the right orientation is with the two notches in the same direction. So here we're gonna put our new bearing. Of course, everything is nice and clean. We're gonna put a little bit of a assembly lube on the bearing, but on the rings we don't put assembly lube anymore. I used to, and I got criticized for that because apparently the assembly lube, when you start the engine, in the cylinder would turn into chewing gum apparently. So that's why instead of assembly lube we're just gonna put engine oil. So I'm putting it right here in the gap of the connecting of the rings. Come on, there you go. And I'm right above the engine so we don't lose the oil. And of course the oil ring all over the place. And then we start turning them back and forth so it spreads all over the place again. Then we can put more. The more the merrier, right? Okay. Then on the cylinder wall as well. Here my right hand doesn't fit. It should, like I'm sure my left one is gonna fit though, because this is the same size now as TR6. Yep, there you go. My right hand doesn't fit, my left hand fits. Interesting, right? Okay. Now we can stagger the rings. So the oil ring I can't really stagger, but the first and the second I put them in the opposite directions. One, like the gap is here, the other one, the gap is gonna be on this side. And now this is important. The open side of the connecting rod goes in that direction where the distributor is, the oil filter, etc. And also the direction of the piston needs to point forward. So that works well here. Hold on. We're gonna make sure that the crankshaft is turned at the bottom dead center, and then we're gonna put it like this. Okay. Let's put this through the pin, just like that. And then we're gonna take our piston ring clamp. My good one broke and I haven't bought a new one, so I'm still using this pretty old one. Actually, it might be even better because it looks old. Oh my god, that's a lot of slack I gave myself. Okay, making sure that we're not crimping anything in the wrong way. Now we can take it off. Now we have to align our clamp because it is, you see, it's on a cone. Now we're gonna tighten a little more. Okay, and now again, gently tap it up. And we are in. Now we can flip the engine. Again, somebody would tell me, now in this position I can put also number 4. Correct. But this means we have to split another connecting rod and we might mix up the cups at the end, right? So I'm just going the safe way here, one at a time. The crankshaft is clean, but we're gonna wipe it again. And we have assembly lube on the connecting rod, but we're gonna put more here because it won't hurt. Now we can raise the connecting rod. Turn the crankshaft a little. Raise more. Turn more. Raise more. And we're there. Can put the other bearing here now. More assembly lube. The only thing when using a brush for the assembly lube, we have to make sure that there's no bristles from the brush left. The notch is here, the notch is here, so that's how it goes. And we can put the bolts. Now it would have been great if I looked up the torque. Okay, so the torque here is 38 to 42 foot-pounds. Of course, knowing me, I am doing 42. No, actually, it's a lot. Okay. And now we can turn the crankshaft. Okay. Wow. I like this sound. When we can turn the crankshaft again with the bottom dead center on the second cylinder and do the same thing again. Okay, all the pistons are installed. And did you know this fun fact about Spitfire engine, that all the pistons are at the same level always and go up and down? Just kidding you. Okay, so spins beautifully, makes the sound. I love this sound of the fresh crosshatch pattern with the piston rings. So now we're just gonna double check the pistons, make sure that they all point in the same direction, forward. We didn't make any mistakes. Yep. And that's it for the top. And we're gonna turn it back upside down. And we're gonna finish assembling the bottom end, which includes the sealing block, the rear seal housing with the seal, and the oil pump. So let's get on that. First, let's start with the sealing block. Okay, this sealing block, unfortunately, I just checked the threads and these are good here and here, but this one I can easily go without threading it this much. So it's missing few of the first threads, but oops, but it is pretty deep actually, and the threads in the back feel pretty good, so we can use it. Okay, see, all the threads went. We can use it, we just need to make sure that we use a longer bolt into the center hole here. So that goes like this, so the center hole is where the cover goes. We will have to use a longer bolt there. We're gonna measure the depth and we're going to use as long as possible. Other than that, it is nice and straight, so we can use it. The only problem is this little hole. Now for the sides here we have little gaskets, and for here we have pieces of wood that some gasket kits supply, some don't, but for this gasket kit we have it. But they just give you a block of wood. Literally, these are the small ones, just one block of wood. They used to cut them, precise them. Now we have to play with it to make it the correct size. Okay, so it looks like this block doesn't have a lot of movement here, but in some engines you can tap it in and out, and when you can, then you have to make sure that it aligns perfectly here with the block. This one you don't have much of movement, so I'm just gonna tighten it, but it lines up, so it's good. Now let's see if this is one block of wood or two. I think it's one. Oh, they are two actually. Have to make sure that there's no tape left on the wood so it can absorb oil. I have to split it. I'm gonna fill this with gasket maker. We're gonna start this. Okay. We're gonna put gasket maker on it as well. And then tap it up. Okay, you can tell by the sound that it is there. And then we can cut the excess. Okay, next the rear seal, which we replaced already in the housing. And the housing is interchangeable with the TR6 and GT6 one, and it uses the same horseshoe gasket, and we can install it from here. I'm just gonna put gasket maker there, and then you can put it like that and put the bolts and tighten them from here. So it works. Okay, we just put assembly loop here unintentionally, which is good. Okay, so the oil seal is installed with the housing, the bolts are tight, and the last thing here underneath is the oil pump. Now, this oil pump we measured before, and we made sure that the tolerances are good. It's in one of the first videos, so we're reinstalling it. It looks like a new pump. So we have to make sure that the output, this is the output, so the oil pump sucks oil from the oil pan, goes in, and it pushes it through this hole. So we have to make sure that this hole matches this hole here, not this one. This is the pressure relief valve that goes here. So if the pressure becomes too high on this side, that just overcomes the tension of this spring, which is pushing on this plunger, and oil starts just coming back into the oil pan. So that's how it goes. This hole matches this. You can't put it in any other way anyways, because there's 3 bolts, and if you try to put it this way, you can't, because the crankshaft is hitting here. I think somebody actually did that. I think somebody did that before. Yeah. Wow. I don't know. But anyways, can't put it this way, can't put it this way because this hits here. So that's the only way that it goes. There's no gasket here, but I'd like to put a little bit of a gasket maker, because if we can prevent internal bleeding, it would be good. Because sometimes you can lose oil pressure from here around the oil pump. So that's how it goes. This hole remains open. So we're going to put a little bit of assembly lube on the outside and on the inside of the outer rotor. Just a little bit, so it is so it's easy to prime the engine. Then we have the shaft with the inner rotor on it. So the shaft protrudes all the way up there and connects to the distributor driving gear at the bottom. Okay, and then the cover. The cover, of course, needs to match the shape of the body. Okay, and then just temporarily we're gonna put the cover. I mean, we can put it permanently with the gasket and everything, but I don't feel comfortable. I always leave this for the end. I don't know why, but just giving myself the option to come back and open it if I forgot something or if I drop something in the engine. Not that there's many holes through which we can drop something inside, but you know, I do it all the way at the end. So for now we are done at the bottom. Let's flip it the right side up now, and let's do the front engine plate, which for which we don't need the top, so we're gonna just cover it, just so dust and debris doesn't go inside. Okay, so for the front engine plate we need a gasket and the front engine plate. And you know how this gasket in the TR6 gasket kits always comes as a double, and there's a little bit of a difference between them. So I'm surprised to find out that this also doesn't come with a single gasket. It comes with one, another one, and then for I don't know what reason, one more. So this one comes with not one, not two, but three gaskets. So yes, they are different thicknesses, but I don't think that is what these are meant for. I mean, look, the bolt pattern doesn't match on these two. And this one doesn't have the thing here, but matches this bolt pattern. No, it doesn't really match this bolt pattern. Does it match this one? Yeah. It matches this bolt pattern, but doesn't have the thing here, which in this case we need. So this is not gonna match. Now, I know many people insist that with the thickness of this gasket here, you adjust the end plate on the camshaft, which for me absolutely doesn't make sense. How does it affect? Even some people say that if you paint the surface, that also changes the end plate of the shaft. It doesn't, guys, because you have to put the plate in the back. Okay, let's take this plate out. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the gasket goes behind the front engine plate. Then we put the front engine plate on, and then we put this retainer, which the rear of the retainer is at the surface of the front engine plate, right? So by changing the thickness of the gasket, we change the position of the front engine plate and relatively the position of this retainer. But that also, the retainer, changes the position of the camshaft. Whether it is further in or further back, the end plate is always going to be the same, because the end plate is always going to be equal to the width of this channel minus the thickness of this plate. Full stop. Doesn't matter where you put this plate, further in, further out, the end plate of the camshaft is always going to be the same. So it doesn't matter the thickness of the gasket. You want to say that that's going to change the position of the timing gears? 100%. Because if we have thicker gasket, that's going to pull the camshaft further out, and then it's going to misalign with this or align with the crankshaft gear. absolutely. But the end play of the camshaft depends only on the width of this groove and the thickness of this retainer, nothing else. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my opinion. So of course we're gonna put the gasket that matches best here, one of these two. Definitely not this one, because you see now this hole doesn't match and this hole doesn't match, but this one matches perfectly. So that's the one that we're gonna use. What are the other two for? I have no idea. Anyway, I'm gonna put a gasket maker here. We're gonna install the gasket, we're gonna install the engine plate, and then we're gonna see what else. Okay, front engine plate is installed, and I put also, so these 4 bolts here remain permanently. I believe this one remains permanently here, these 2 as well, but I put some more to hold the plate in place. So this one, this one, this one, yeah, these 3 actually have to come out, because these are actually holding the cover on top. But because we still have to install the gears, do the timing and all that before we put the cover, I wanted to have something to compress the plate towards the engine. Maybe I should put one more here, whatever. So when I put this retainer first, that made the camshaft super tight, like I couldn't spin it. And I took it out, I flip it around and tightened it again, and now it's spinning. So looks like, I don't know why it goes only one way, maybe it's bent a little, I have no idea, but it works well this way, like I can spin it nicely. And there's a little bit of end play which we can measure with filler gauge, but actually I can put the dial gauge on it and measure it with that. According to the manual, we need to have here 4 to 8 thou of end play, which, like I said, I don't see a way to adjust that, but it is just, I guess, tells you when to change your retainer or the crankshaft or the camshaft, I don't know, but okay. I can go through the distributor and push the distributor driving gear. So that's 94 in one direction, 92, 90, 91.5. So we're 2.5 thou. So we're just half a thou below the tolerance. No, actually 4 to 8. So we're 1.5 thou below the tolerance, but there's nothing that adjusts this. No gasket thicknesses, no nothing. We can take out the retainer and shave it a little bit, but I don't think that is necessary. Plus I put assembly loop here, so that might be affecting it. I mean, they want you to test all the end plates and everything with dry. I'm gonna leave it like that. 2.5 thou, so there is end play and it's not tight, I can spin it, so that's where I'm gonna leave it. So next, let's install the gears and talk about them a little bit, because we're gonna have to have a chat about them. All right, let's talk about the timing mechanism. So this is the mechanism, the timing mechanism that came out of here. This gear and this gear, I'm 100% sure are the originals out of the engine, because look at the color, and oh, look at that. We cut this, remember, for the fuel pump, but that's the gear that came out of here. And what do you notice about these? They are single roll. So first of all, they are the original gears of the engine, I guess. And when they rebuilt the engine, I'm pretty sure this is a new chain. It looks like a new chain, because you know this engine was rebuilt not that long ago, but not great. So when they rebuilt it, they only changed the chain, which is not a great idea. if you ask me. You're literally sentencing this chain to death right away, because the grooves here now are not the original size and the chain gets stretched immediately. You have to change the gears and the chain altogether. So I bought new gears and new chain, and here they are. But this one looks different, doesn't it? Yep, it's a double row. We are converting this timing mechanism to a double row. Why? Because of my bad experience with single row chains. There's a reason why they switched from single row on TR250 to double row on TR6, even though it's the exact same engine. But the timing gears on the TR250 are single row, on the TR6 it's double row. And the reason why they changed it is because I assume that they realized that the chain stretches way too fast. That's what happened on my Spitfire. When I rebuilt the engine almost 10 years ago now, wow, time flies, I installed a single row mechanism. New gears, new chain, but single row. And a few months later, the chain started rattling. So I drove it for a while like that, and then I realized that for some reason the chain stretched. So what did I do? I took out the cover and replaced the chain. Again, I don't remember if I changed the gears, but I put a new chain and I also put a new tensioner. I mean, I wanted to put a new tensioner. I thought that the old one somehow got softer or bent or something. So I had a new one, but I realized that the older one is still in a really good shape and the chain still rattles. So anyway, I put a new chain and I doubled the tensioner. I put the two tensioners once inside the other. That's the only Spitfire that has a double tensioner, I guess. And that lasted for a while, probably a few months, I don't remember, a year maybe, and then the chain stretched again and started rattling again, and that's how it is still in my car. I was gonna replace it last summer, but then I realized that I have to rebuild the whole engine for different reasons. But anyway, so since then I realized that single row is something that I'm gonna avoid forever from now. So my GT6 I converted to double row chain. When I rebuilt a TR250 engine, I converted to double row chain, and now on this Spitfire as well we are converting it to a double row. There's a kit available in Rimmers, I believe, and it is pricey, but believe me, it's worth it. Plus, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. In the conversion kit, the gear for the camshaft for Spitfire is actually a TR6 gear. For TR250, it's a TR6 gear. For GT6, it's a TR6 gear. The chain in the conversion kit for a Spitfire from single row to a double row is a TR6 chain. For GT6, it's a TR6 chain. For TR250, it's a TR6 chain. So now the only component that is different for Spitfire, for the earlier Spitfires with the small diameter crankshaft, is the crankshaft gear. This is the only part that is not stock part. It doesn't fit any stock car. It is a custom made gear, and that's why it is expensive. But that is only for the early Spitfires with the small crankshaft. The late Spitfires have a bigger diameter crankshaft here, which is exactly the same as TR6 crankshaft. So for the late Spitfire, you can buy the crankshaft gear for a TR6. For GT6, you can buy a crankshaft gear for a TR6. For TR250, you can buy a crankshaft gear for TR6. So when you buy the expensive kit, the only custom part is this. If it is a conversion for a late Spitfire, there's no custom parts in it. It is all TR6 parts. For GT6 conversion kit, it's all TR6 parts. So that's the secret. So if you're cheap like me, what I did was I bought a TR6 gear, I bought a TR6 chain, and I only bought the custom gear for the crankshaft. So that's it. So now we're not going to install the chain yet. We're gonna install only the gears, and we're gonna have to align them. We're gonna have to make sure that they are on the same plane here. This gear goes with the chamfer towards the crankshaft. There's a little chamfer on this side too, but it is a small one. This is the one that's important because it accommodates for this, what is it called? It's not chamfer. What is the opposite of a chamfer? I don't know. This corner here is not 90 degrees, it's not sharp, it's rounded. That's I guess for strength, I think. I don't know, but also it's hard to machine it 90 degrees there. So that's how it goes with the chamfer in that direction. Okay, and now we take a straight edge and we check the alignment of the teeth, not this surface, the teeth, so this surface with this surface here. Oh wow, oh wow. Normally you have shims here in the back that are they sell you 4 and 6 thou, so sometimes you have to use 4, sometimes you need to use 6, sometimes you need to use bots. But here, this is crazy. This is at least 60 thou. Okay, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna bring you closer and I'm gonna show you. But this is amazing. We can't put 10 shims there. I don't have 10 shims, but let's see. Let's measure it and see how thick. Let's measure it and see how much we need to add there. This custom gear, you see? Problem. Okay, so if we put the straight edge to lay flat here and here, you see what happens there? We have like quite a bit of a gap. Normally this gap is 4, 6, sometimes 10 thou. Sometimes there's no gap at all, but here this is huge. So this is telling me that let's measure it. I have these filler gauges that are bent at the end, so that might be helpful in this case. Okay, let's see how that works. Now we have a little gap here, right here, or not. Actually, that's pretty good. So this is, can't even see these, they're so rusty. 16, 15, and 14. So that's 45 thou. 45 thou of a gap. That's like 8 shims of 6 thou almost. Like 7 shims of 6 thou and 1 shim of 4 thou or something like that. Ay ay ay. Let me think about it. Alright, so here is the plan. I have this kit. So it's machine bushing kit. So bushing doesn't look like bushing, but it is shims rather to me. So they're different diameters, different thicknesses, and I added some stuff to it too. But I found this one inside, which fits pretty well this diameter, except at the end because of this bevel. Is that bevel? Maybe it's called bevel. Because of the bevel, I can't go all the way. And it is also thicker, so it is 80 thou. And we needed how much? 45, we said. Okay, I can put it on the lathe and I can put a chamfer on the inside and maybe increase the diameter if I have to, so I can fit it all the way there. But I can't reduce the width because how do I hold it on the lathe? So I'm thinking this is 80. First of all, I'm gonna deal with the diameter so I can see if I can put it all the way to the crankshaft, but then 80 minus 45 is 35. What if we take 35 thou off of this surface of the gear? That's gonna make it work. Yeah, so let me see if I can fix that first. After a little bit more machining, it fits well now. That's perfect. So now let's go remove 35 thou from the gear. Okay, so the gear is 1 inch and 30 thou. So it needs to become 1 inch minus 5 thou, but something like that. Let's see. And if my calculations are right, we should be just under 3 inch or 3995. Ha! Okay, 3994-ish. Okay, let's go check that now on the engine. Okay, so this thing can go in. Only this part I don't like, that it slides down. But I'm assuming that when the gear pushes it in, it's gonna go where it's supposed to go. Okay. Yeah, pretty sure that's fine. That is perfect now. Okay, come and see it. Yeah. I'm really happy with it. Okay, so alignment done. We can actually put the woodroof key now and push the gear in, and it stays. We don't need to take it out anymore. And with that, we're gonna put an end to this video, because in the next one we're gonna do the timing, because it is time for timing. And for the timing, as you may know, I like timing and I go in pretty deep detail. And I know, guys, that you've seen timing videos all over the place, but I haven't done timing on a Spitfire, and I'm hoping that there's gonna be Spitfire people who are gonna join the Rusty Beauties community now because of this series. So we're gonna do the timing here, and maybe just to make it a little bit more interesting, we're gonna do the timing in a different way. Maybe we should go with the 2 valves equally open at top dead center, not on the power stroke, on the other top dead center, and then we can verify it with the other method that I always use, the peak of the lobe at 110. So we'll see what we're gonna do, but it's gonna be in another video because this one is gonna end here. So thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, sharing and supporting this channel. It is highly appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.